Don't let tomorrow's solutions get stuck on today's obstacles. Help move what matters at Iowa State. Iowa State students have big ideas.
My name is Cam Schaefer. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Spock's Sanctuary, which is a exotic companion animal rescue, and we provide other services in education and nutrition.
And it all started with a little help from Cyclones like you.
Are you suffering from wince face due to an injury? Or maybe from back, muscle, or joint pain? Even if you're unsure what that pain is, the specialists at the Iowa Clinic Bone and Joint Center can help you feel better from head to toe. It's coordinated. It's easy. It's all under one roof. Because no one should have to live in pain or with wince face. Call or visit iowaclinic.com today.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pregame here on the Cyclone Fanatics social feeds. My name is Chris Williams, looking ahead to Iowa State and BYU tonight. Game will be tipping off in about 30 minutes from Provo. Obviously, I am not there. I am in the home office tonight in central Iowa. Really interesting matchup tonight. I've been really cracking down on BYU here over the last couple of hours. And we'll get to it. The Cyclones are 4.5-point underdogs tonight. Really interesting analytics matchup as you've got BYU ranked 11th in KenPom. Iowa State is ranked 12th. So these two teams analytically are almost exactly the same. However, they play very different. Real quick, the net rankings, BYU is ranked 5th. Iowa State is ranked 9th. So this is a huge opportunity type of game tonight for the Cyclones. If you would win this one, you would be an analytical darling. Not that Iowa State isn't already, because they are. But this is a game. You look at it. You're only a 4-point underdog on the road, and if you would win it, you'd see a huge spike in Iowa State's metrics. This would be a big one. So let's get to the actual matchup. And what I fear with this game is that BYU is a bit of an outlier as far as a matchup goes. They shoot the three ball, so they're the third highest percentage three-point shooting team in the country. 27% of BYU's points come from 37% of BYU's points come from the three-point line. It's a little bit, let's put it in football terms. It's a little bit like when you have a defense that is meant to stop the run, but then you've got to go up against an air raid, Texas Tech of the past type thing. And so that's where it's like tonight for Iowa State. They're not really built for this type of team, but it's all about pressure. It's all about ball pressure for Iowa State. So you got a BYU team that's going to shoot a ton of threes. We know that. We know that they're chuckers. And what can you do to stop that? Iowa State has struggled with the three-point shot, defending it this year. Let's look at what that number actually is. Yeah, three-point defense for Iowa State is not good. It's 356 in the country. It's really bad. So, excuse me, I said that wrong. It's still 145th, so it's not great. It's 145th. So, but if you've watched in the games against Iowa, when Iowa State has played high major teams, that's what's kind of been the Achilles heel, has been defending the three. Now, what's the game plan tonight? It is to pressure the hell out of them. Iowa State is going to try what they try and do. Iowa State's mindset, it doesn't really matter what the opponent does. They try and speed you up because they try and pressure you so hard that it makes you think, and it makes you just kind of, pick up the pace more than what you want to do. And the hope is tonight you do that with BYU, and they don't make as many threes. That's the overwhelming goal for the matchup for Iowa State tonight. BYU, we talked about their ratings and where they're at, 23 offense, 7 defense, but they've lost 2 of 3. They're only 1 of 2 1-2 in the Big 12. Their last home game was against Cincinnati a couple of Saturdays ago where they lost by double digits. So we don't really know how good this BYU team is. It's a deal where I think they're a lot like Iowa State, except Iowa State's more of a proven program at this level, right? BYU is still going up at a level where Iowa State, despite having a ton of new players, has proven that Otzelberger and his staff can win at this level, consistently now, as you've done it a couple years in a row. I still think that these new programs like BYU are going to struggle to get through 18 games. I'm not saying they won't be any good. I'm not saying that at all, but I think that once the scout gets out on them a little bit more, these types of programs will maybe fade a little bit, but they're all really good, right? I mean, we've talked a lot about BYU. Central Florida is 1-2, but they beat Kansas already, for crying out loud, right? I mean, Houston speaks for itself, and then Cincinnati feels like they've been pretty darn good thus far. Again, they had that win. They're playing TCU right now. I'm going to pull up the score for you on that. For some reason, my ESPN Plus subscription's making me give a password. They are losing to TCU right now with 10 to play. They are down 7 in that basketball game. So a good one right there if you want to watch it. Watch the end of it before Iowa State tips off. Other Big 12 games tonight, Kansas at Oklahoma State. And you've got Baylor, Kansas State. That's going on right now. Looks like a good one in Manhattan. So, listen, like tonight's game, I think that it's an outlier either way. I just don't think you can take what BYU does and compare it to any other matchups in the Big 12, I guess is what I'm saying. And good or bad, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, this is a hard place to play. Matt is kind of joking around about the last time Iowa State played at BYU. It's one of the all-time favorite wins in Iowa State history for me, either sport. I love that game. Thinking about it, going back to it, it was freaking awesome. So that was big time. Hopefully a little less dramatic. We don't need players flipping off the opposing crowd and gouging out the eyes of an opponent, but nonetheless, we have one of the all-time great game watches at Benchwarmers watching that. So yeah, like tonight, that's really what it comes down to is they're going to try and shoot the three. Can Iowa State pressure them to the point where they overly speed up and don't shoot well? We'll see. We are getting some word, thanks to those who are hollering at me that a couple BYU players could potentially be out in this one as far as injuries go. We will keep an eye on that. I don't know the specifics on it, but that would certainly be advantageous. The Cyclones, again, if they can get this one tonight, I feel like they have a better chance to win this one than they do against TCU. They will be less of an underdog against TCU, but I just think matchup-wise, like this one, this has the possibility for Iowa State to get a road upset. I'd be less confident going into Saturday's game. It is brutal to win on the road in this conference. I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. This Iowa State team, in a weird way, because of the way that they defend, it's not as good as they have been, but they're a little bit travel-proof because of that. They don't shoot and make a lot of threes. So there's a part of me that's this Iowa State team could be a decent road team. We'll see. The competition's brutal. But, man, if you can get this one tonight, we are all we're jumping for joy. We're crushing the Ames Loggers in celebration because that would be a skyrocket for Iowa State's analytics. Not that it needs it, being in the top 10 in the net and whatnot, but this would be a really big deal. So that's what I'm looking for. Ball pressure defensively. They are a good defensive team, too. I've talked all about BYU's offense. They're ranked 7th in adjusted defensive efficiency. So really good basketball team that Mark Pope has out there in Provo. We'll see. This is a big test for them, too, right? Because you have this great non-conference. All these ratings love you. Then you get into the Big 12 and you start 0-2 with your one win coming against Central Florida. If I'm a BYU fan tonight, I'm like, what do we got? What are we? What is this? And it's a big game tonight for BYU. So I think Iowa State's going to get their best shot I don't even want to give a prediction because I think that this game is going down to the wire. If it doesn't go down to the wire, I bet Iowa State gets beat pretty good. Only reason I say that is because I think that's how BYU wins, is if they go out there and somehow hit 12 threes, and then it'll be a tougher one because you're on the road to make any sort of a legitimate comeback with that. If Iowa State wins it, they got to really high pressure, force this basketball team to turn the ball over. They don't turn it over much. They 51st in turnovers. They don't turn you over a lot either defensively. They play a little bit of a different style than Iowa State when it comes to that. So it should be fun. I will be here after the game. You guys can come and check out anything or anything I'm doing after the game. I will be here afterwards, and we'll talk to you later. Iowa Clinic presenting our pregame show here on the Cyclone Fanatics social media feeds. I'm Chris Williams. Enjoy the